You need to come with me. Is there a problem with my ticket? It does now.
What is going on here?
Ma'am, I need you to grab your things. The words slice through the soft hum of the cabin. Danielle Carter looks up slowly. The plane smells like coffee and new leather. First class. Wide seats. Warm lights. Quiet voices. Her 5-year-old son, Marcus, is pressing his face to the window. Are we flying now, Mommy? Soon, baby, she whispers, but the flight attendant is still standing there. Perfect hair. Tight smile. I said you need to come with me. Danielle blinks. Is there a problem? A pause. Passengers are watching now. This seat is reserved. Danielle feels the heat climb her neck. Yes, it's mine. The attendant's voice lowers. Sharper. We don't want to make this difficult. Difficult. Marcus looks up. Mommy? Danielle forces a calm smile. Everything's fine. The attendant leans closer. You need to leave. Now. A businessman across the aisle clears his throat. Someone whispers, What's going on? Danielle keeps her voice steady. Are you asking me to leave because you think I don't belong here? The attendant's smile disappears. Don't say things you can't prove. And that's when phone lifts into the air. A red recording light flickers on. The flight attendant sees it. Her face changes. And the door to the cockpit opens. Danielle doesn't stand. The flight attendant waits. Ma'am, she says again, let's not create a scene. Danielle keeps her voice even. I'm sitting in my assigned seat. Marcus squeezes her hand. Mommy? It's okay, she whispers, but her heart is pounding. The attendant crosses her arms. I need to verify your ticket. You already scanned it. That was at the gate. And now, a pause. The attendant lowers her voice. This section is reserved for priority members. Danielle blinks slowly. I am a priority member. A businessman across the aisle shifts in his seat. The attendant's lips press thin. Can I see proof? Proof. Danielle feels every eye on her. I showed proof when I paid. We're just following procedure. Procedure for who? The silence is loud. Marcus looks up. Mommy, did we do something bad? The words hit her harder than anything else. No, baby, she says softly. We did nothing wrong. The attendant sighs loudly. Ma'am, if you refuse to cooperate, I will have to involve airport security. Security. Over a seat. Danielle looks at the woman's name tag. Claire, she reads calmly. Explain what rule I broke. Claire doesn't answer. Instead, she gestures toward the aisle. Please gather your things. Danielle doesn't move. A phone rises 2 rows back. A young man in a hoodie. Recording. Claire notices. Her tone shifts. This is a private matter. The young man speaks. It stopped being private when you threatened security. Passengers murmur. Claire stiffens. Sir, you're interfering with airline operations. He keeps recording. I'm observing. Danielle feels something change in the air. She's not alone now, but that makes it worse. Now Marcus sees it, sees strangers defending his mother, sees tension crack the comm cabin. Claire leans closer. You're making this difficult. Danielle meets her eyes. No, you are. Claire straightens. You people always... She stops herself. Too late. Danielle's chest tightens. You people... Danielle repeats softly. Claire flushes. That's not what I meant. The young man's phone moves closer. Passengers whisper louder now. Marcus hides against Danielle's arm. Danielle strokes his hair. Baby, look at me. He does. You remember what I told you? He nods slowly. What do we do when someone treats us unfairly? He swallows. We stay calm. That's right. Claire's voice hardens. This is your final request. Danielle looks at the aisle, then back at Claire. No. The word is quiet, but firm. The businessman across the aisle mutters. Why cause trouble? Danielle turns to him. Would you leave your seat without a reason? He looks away. Claire's jaw tightens. Security is on the way. The cabin air feels thinner. Marcus whispers. Are they going to take you? Danielle's throat burns. No one is taking me. Claire taps her earpiece. Yes, I need assistance in first class. The phrase echoes. Assistance, like she's a problem. Danielle feels anger rising, but she locks it down. If she raises her voice, she loses. If she cries, she loses. If she leaves, she loses. The young man steps closer into the aisle. Ma'am, he says to Claire, can you state clearly why she's being removed? Claire hesitates. That information is confidential. Is race confidential? He asks. Gasps. Claire snaps. That's inappropriate. Danielle feels Marcus trembling. She pulls him closer. I paid for this seat, she says evenly. If there's an error, show it. Claire opens her mouth, and the cockpit door clicks open. Footsteps. Heavy. Measured. The captain steps out. Gray hair. Calm eyes. What's happening here? He asks. Claire turns quickly. Seat verification issue, sir. The captain looks at Danielle. Ma'am, your name? The entire cabin goes silent. Danielle lifts her chin. Danielle Carter. The captain's expression shifts. Just slightly. He studies her face. Then her boarding pass. Then Claire. And he says, wait. Cliffhanger. The captain doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. May I see your boarding pass, Miss Carter? Danielle hands it over. Her fingers are steady. Inside, she feels like glass. Claire steps closer. There was confusion about eligibility, sir. Eligibility? Danielle repeats. The captain scans a code. Beep. He studies a small screen in his hand. Seat 3A, he says. Confirmed. Claire forces a smile. Yes, but first class requires status verification. Danielle swallows. You verified it at the gate. Claire's jaw tightens. Sometimes mistakes slip through. The young man recording shifts closer. What kind of mistake? Claire ignores him. The captain looks at Danielle. His eyes are calm. Measuring. Did anyone inform you of an issue before boarding? No, Danielle says. I scanned my ticket. I walked down the jet bridge. I sat down. Marcus squeezes her arm. Mommy. She rubs his back. It's okay. Claire folds her arms. Sir, I recommend we double-check the system. The captain nods once. Let's do that. He pulls out a tablet from the compartment near the galley. Passengers lean slightly forward. Even the businessman across the aisle is watching now. The cabin feels smaller. Claire speaks quietly but sharp. We have to maintain standards. Danielle hears it. Standards? What standard did I fail? Danielle asks. Claire doesn't look at her. The captain taps the screen. Scrolls. Types. His face changes. Not dramatic. Just a flicker. Claire notices. Is there a problem? He doesn't answer right away. Danielle feels a shift. Something is different. Marcus whispers. Are we going home? She shakes her head softly. No, baby. The captain clears his throat. Ms. Carter, when did you book this ticket? 3 weeks ago. Directly through us? Yes. Claire cuts in. Sir, sometimes third-party sites. She booked direct. The captain says calmly. Claire stiffens. The young man holding the phone speaks again. So what's the issue? The captain tilts the tablet slightly away from the aisle, but Danielle catches a glimpse. A red banner at the top of the screen. Claire sees it too. Her face drains. Sir, she says quietly. Danielle leans forward. What does it say? The captain hesitates. Claire steps closer. It's internal. Danielle's chest tightens. Internal about what? The businessman mutters. This is getting out of hand. Danielle turns to him. It already was. The captain finally speaks. There's a note attached to your account. Silence. What kind of note? Danielle asks. Claire's voice is tight. Sir, that's not necessary to discuss. The captain ignores her. It says your account was flagged last month. Flagged. The word drops heavy. Marcus looks up. Flag means bad, right? Danielle forces a calm breath. Not always. But her stomach twists. Flag for what? She asks. The captain scrolls. His eyes narrow. Claire shifts her weight. It's probably a clerical issue. Clerical? Danielle repeats. The captain looks at Claire now. Claire, he says slowly, why didn't you mention this? Claire swallows. Because it doesn't relate to seating. Danielle feels the tension spike. Then what does it relate to? The young man's phone moves closer. The cabin is silent now. No whispers. No coughing. Just breathing. The captain speaks carefully. The note says, do not challenge upgrade status. Executive directive. Claire's lips part. Danielle blinks. Executive, she says. The businessman straightens in his seat. Claire tries to recover. That doesn't change verification protocol. The captain looks at her sharply. It changes everything. Danielle's heart pounds harder. Why would my account have an executive directive? The captain scrolls again. His expression tightens further. There's more. Claire steps forward. Sir. He raises a hand. Let me finish. Danielle grips the armrest. Marcus leans against her side. The captain reads silently, then looks up at Danielle. Ms. Carter, were you aware your name is listed as tomorrow's keynote guest? The words hang in the air. Keynote. Danielle echoes. Yes, he says, at our National Diversity Summit. The cabin erupts in low murmurs. Claire's face goes pale. Danielle feels heat flood her body. I was invited, she says slowly, but that has nothing to do with this seat. The captain nods once. It has everything to do with why there's an executive directive attached to your booking. Claire shakes her head. That doesn't excuse procedural review. Danielle's voice sharpens for the first time. What procedure requires humiliating a passenger in front of a child? Claire opens her mouth, closes it. The young man whispers, this is insane. The captain studies Claire. Why? He asks quietly. Did you escalate this to security before checking the system? Claire's silence is loud. Passengers shift again. The businessman looks uncomfortable now. Danielle feels something changing. The power in the room. But she doesn't feel relief. Not yet. The captain looks back at the screen. There's one more note. Claire's eyes widen. Sir, she says urgently. That's confidential. Danielle leans forward. What note? The captain hesitates. His jaw tightens. Then he says, it references a prior complaint involving you, Claire. The air in the cabin freezes. Claire whispers, that's not relevant. The captain looks at her. It says a complaint involved profiling. A sharp intake of breath moves through first class. Danielle feels Marcus cling tighter. Claire's voice cracks. That was resolved. The captain studies the screen again. His face hardens. It says, he reads slowly, pattern under review. And the red banner at the top of the screen begins flashing. The red banner keeps flashing. Pattern under review. Claire steps back. That's internal, she says again, but her voice has lost its edge. The captain lowers the tablet. Ms. Carter, he says carefully, your upgrade wasn't random. Danielle keeps her chin lifted. I didn't think it was. The cabin is silent. The young man's phone is still recording. Claire looks at him. Turn that off. No, he says simply. The captain continues. You were upgraded under executive authorization. Danielle nods once. I received an email. Claire crosses her arms. Upgrades are still subject to verification. The captain looks at her. Claire. One word. Warning. Danielle feels her pulse in her ears. Marcus whispers, Mommy, what's happening? She brushes his hair back. They're figuring it out. But she's tired. Tired of proving. Tired of standing still while someone questions her right to sit. The businessman across the aisle clears his throat. So she gets special treatment now? Danielle turns slowly. I paid for a seat, she says. The airline upgraded it. He shrugs. Must be nice. His tone stings more than Claire's. The captain speaks calmly. Ms. Carter is tomorrow's keynote speaker at our national summit. The businessman blinks. Keynote? Yes. Claire stiffens again. That's irrelevant to cabin order. Danielle's eyes flash. Cabin order? She repeats. Claire gestures vaguely. First class is standards. There it is again. Standards. The young man mutters. You keep saying that. Claire snaps. Sir, you're interfering. He doesn't flinch. I'm witnessing. The captain turns to Danielle. Ms. Carter, your foundation partner with our veterans program last year. She nods slowly. Yes. And you funded 3 military family relocation grants. The businessman shifts in his seat. Claire stares at the floor. Danielle feels something twist inside her. Not pride, not relief, just exhaustion. I didn't do that for applause, she says quietly. No, the captain agrees. You didn't. Claire straightens. That still doesn't explain the flag. Danielle looks at her. You mean the note about profiling? Claire's cheeks flush. That was misinterpreted. The captain's voice lowers. It says prior passenger reported feeling targeted based on appearance. Claire's jaw tightens. They misunderstood my tone. Danielle feels anger rising again. Tone, she says softly. Marcus looks between them. Mommy, are we staying? Danielle pulls him close. Yes. Claire shakes her head. This is getting out of control. The captain studies her. No, he says evenly. It was out of control when you threatened security. The businessman raises his hands. Can we just take off? Danielle turns to him. You were quiet when she told my son I had to leave. He looks away. Silence is heavy. The captain addresses the cabin. There is no seating issue. Ms. Carter is confirmed in 3A. A ripple moves through first class. Some nod. Some look embarrassed. Claire forces a smile. Well, that settles it. Danielle doesn't smile back. No, she says softly. It doesn't. Claire freezes. The captain watches carefully. Danielle's voice stays calm. You asked me to leave in front of my child. You called security. Claire folds her arms. Procedure. Procedure, Danielle repeats. Or assumption? Claire's lips press tight. I treat every passenger same. The young man lets out a short laugh. Is that why you say you people? Gasps again. Claire snaps. That was taken out of context. Danielle feels the weight of every eye again. But this time it's different. Now they're watching Claire. Not her. The captain looks at Claire slowly. Did you say that? Claire hesitates. I was misunderstood. Danielle exhales slowly. She doesn't want drama. She doesn't want revenge. She wants her son to feel safe. Marcus leans into her. Mommy, why were they mad? She swallows. They weren't mad, baby. They sounded mad. The truth sits heavy in her chest. The captain clears his throat. Claire, return to your position. Claire stiffens. Sir, that's an order. She steps back, but as she turns, she mutters, some people always make it about race. It's quiet, but not quiet enough. Danielle hears it. The young man hears it. The businessman hears it. Danielle's body goes still. Slowly, she lifts her head. What did you say? Claire stops walking. I said nothing. The captain turns sharply. Claire. Passengers lean forward again. The tension isn't gone. It's sharper now. Claire's voice is brittle. I said some passengers escalate things unnecessarily. Danielle studies her face. No, she says calmly. You said race. Claire doesn't respond. The captain's eyes narrow. Claire, step into the galley. Now. Claire hesitates, then walks away. The cabin releases a small breath, but Danielle doesn't feel relief. The businessman leans back. Guess it worked out for you. Danielle looks at him. Worked out. He shrugs. You're still sitting there. She holds his gaze. That's not the win. The young man lowers his phone slightly. Ma'am, he says quietly, the video's already uploaded. Danielle blinks. Uploaded. He nods. Live stream. 10,000 viewers already. Her stomach drops. Marcus looks up. Are we famous? Danielle forces a thin smile. No, baby. But outside this plane, something is moving. Fast. And inside the galley, Claire is arguing in hushed, urgent whispers. The captain's voice is firm. Danielle can't hear the words, but she can see Claire's face. Angry. Cornered. And then, Claire looks directly at Danielle. Not embarrassed. Not sorry. Just resentful. And she reaches for her phone. The plane finally begins to move. Slow push from the gate. The engines hum. But the tension hasn't left. Claire stands near the galley, whispering sharply into her phone. Her back is stiff, her jaw tight. Danielle feels Marcus press closer to her side. "Mommy, are we in trouble?" "No," she says softly. "We're not." But her pulse won't slow. The captain disappears back into the cockpit. The door shuts. The businessman across the aisle exhales loudly. "Can we just move on now?" Danielle looks at him. "Move on from what?" He shrugs. "It was a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding," she repeats. He leans forward slightly. "You have to admit, sometimes people jump to conclusions." Danielle studies his face. "Who jumped first?" she asks quietly. He doesn't answer. The plane begins taxiing. Seatbelt signs glow. Claire walks back into the aisle. Professional smile back in place. But it's thin, brittle. "Ladies and gentlemen," she says smoothly, "we apologize for the brief delay." Brief delay. That's what this is now. A delay. Not humiliation. Not threat. Just inconvenience. Danielle feels something inside her settle. Cold. Controlled. Claire stops at her row. Leans down slightly. Voice low. "You've made your point." Danielle's eyes don't blink. "My point." Claire's smile fades. "You didn't have to turn this into a spectacle." Danielle keeps her tone calm. "You asked for security. You forced my hand." "I was sitting," Danielle says. The businessman sighs loudly again. "Please," he mutters, "let's not restart this." Claire straightens. "We are prepared for takeoff," she says, louder now. But before she walks away, she adds, "Enjoy your special treatment." Marcus hears it. "Mommy, what does that mean?" Danielle swallows hard. "It means nothing." But it doesn't mean nothing. The plane lifts. The ground falls away. Clouds swallow the window. Marcus presses his face to the glass again. "Look, we're above everything." Danielle nods. Above everything. If only that were true. 30 minutes into the flight, the cabin quiets. Drinks are served. Claire avoids eye contact. The young man who recorded leans forward slightly. "Ma'am," he says softly, "it's spreading fast." Danielle closes her eyes briefly. "How fast?" "Almost 50,000 views." Her stomach twists. The businessman overhears. "Unbelievable," he mutters. Danielle looks at him. "What is?" He shakes his head. Everything is about race these days. The words hang heavy. Marcus looks up. "What's race?" Danielle freezes. Her chest tightens. The businessman shifts uncomfortably. "Kids shouldn't hear this stuff," he mutters. Danielle turns slowly toward him. "He's hearing it because of you." The man frowns. "Me? You question why I was here. I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." Silence spreads again. Claire approaches with a drink cart. Her smile is automatic. "Would you like something to drink, Miss Carter?" The use of her name feels forced. "Water," Danielle says. Claire nods stiffly. Hands are the cup. Their fingers almost touch. Claire pulls back quickly. As she turns away, Danielle hears her whisper to another attendant, always looking for attention. Danielle's hand tightens around the cup. The young man hears it too. He leans into the aisle. "Could you repeat that?" Claire stops, slowly turns. "I said nothing." The businessman groans. "Seriously?" Danielle feels a shift again. The air changing. Passengers looking. Phones lifting again. Claire's composure cracks slightly. This harassment needs to stop. Danielle's voice is quiet. "Harassment?" Claire's eyes flash. "Yes, you caused disruption since boarding." Danielle stares at her. "I was seated." Claire steps closer. Lower voice. "If you continue, we can file a report for noncompliance." Marcus stiffens. "Mommy?" Danielle's throat burns. "You're threatening me again." Claire's lips tighten. "I'm reminding you of policy." The young man stands halfway. "Policy doesn't sound like that." Claire turns sharply. "Sir, sit down." The businessman rubs his temples. "Can we not turn this into something bigger?" Danielle looks at him. "It already is." The cabin feels smaller now. Voice is sharper. The hum of the engine's louder. Claire looks around, sees the phones, sees the eyes. Her authority slipping. She leans in one last time. You don't understand the consequences of this. Danielle's gaze hardens. No, she says quietly. You don't. Claire straightens, walks quickly toward the front. The young man checks his screen. His face changes. Ma'am, he whispers urgently. Danielle's heart skips. What? He turns the phone toward her. The live stream view count jumps. Hundreds of comments flying past. And at the top, a verified airline executive account has just joined the stream. Danielle stares at the screen. The verified badge is blue. The airline's official account. Watching. Her pulse pounds in her ears. Is that real? She asks quietly. The young man nods. It's their corporate page. Comments scroll fast. Unacceptable. Fire her. This is profiling. Context matters. The businessman shifts in his seat. This is getting blown out of proportion. Danielle doesn't look at him. It was proportionate when she called security. The seatbelt sign dings. The captain's voice fills the cabin. Ladies and gentlemen, we've begun our descent. His tone is steady. Too steady. Claire remains near the galley. Arms crossed. Eyes forward. Not once does she look at Danielle. Marcus tugs her sleeve. Are we safe? Danielle turns to him fully. Yes. But she feels the weight of something bigger now. Not just humiliation. Consequences. The young man leans closer. The airline account just commented. Her stomach tightens. What did it say? He reads quietly. We are aware of the situation and are reviewing immediately. Reviewing. The word feels empty. The plane touches down. A hard thud. Reverse engines roar. No one claps. No one speaks. As they taxi toward the gate. Danielle sees two uniformed supervisors waiting outside the window. Clipboard. Serious faces. Marcus notices them too. Are they for us? Danielle swallows. I don't know. The cabin door opens. People stand quickly. Phone still out. Claire steps forward, voice tight. Please remain seated until further instruction. Further instruction. Danielle feels the eyes again. The supervisor's bored. One woman. One man. Both in dark suits. The woman speaks first. Ms. Carter. Danielle. Stand slowly. Yes. The supervisor's smile is thin. We'd like a moment to speak with you. Claire steps in quickly. There was confusion regarding seat status. The male supervisor glances at her. Claire, please step aside. Claire hesitates, then moves back. Passengers freeze in place. No one exits. They're all listening. The woman's supervisor turns to Danielle. We apologize for any inconvenience. Inconvenience. Danielle feels heat rise. My son thought I was being arrested. The supervisor's smile flickers. That was never the intention. But it was the action, Danielle says calmly. The businessman mutters under his breath. This is unbelievable. Danielle turns sharply. What is? He shakes his head. You're turning this into a lawsuit. Danielle studies him. I'm turning it into accountability. The supervisor clears her throat. We prefer to discuss this privately. The young man raises his phone slightly. Transparency seems better. The male supervisor looks irritated. Sir, please lower your device. He doesn't. Danielle feels the shift again. Institution closing ranks. Was I flagged? She asks directly. The woman's supervisor pauses. That's internal data. Was I flagged? Danielle repeats. Claire steps forward. She's making this hostile. Danielle turns slowly. Hostile? Claire's face is tight. You refuse instructions. I refuse humiliation. The male supervisor cuts in. Let's lower voices. Marcus clings to Danielle's coat. Mommy, can we go? Her chest aches. Yes, baby. The woman's supervisor softens her tone slightly. Ms. Carter, the airline values diversity deeply. Danielle almost laughs. Diversity isn't a value if it disappears under pressure. Silence. Heavy. Passengers exchange glances. The male supervisor checks his phone. His expression changes. He looks at the woman, whispers something. She stiffens. Danielle catches one word. Trending. The young man whispers, "It's over 1 million views now." The businessman's eyes widen. Claire's face drains of color. The supervisor turns back to Danielle. "Ms. Carter, corporate leadership would like to speak with you directly." Danielle studies her. "Now." "Yes." Claire steps in again. "This is unnecessary." It was resolved mid-flight. Danielle's voice is calm. "Was it?" Claire falters. The woman's supervisor inhales slowly. "Claire, please wait outside." Claire hesitates, then exits the plane. Passengers finally begin to move toward the aisle, but slowly, watching, whispering. The male supervisor lowers his voice. "There may be a formal review." Danielle nods once. "There should be." Marcus looks up. "Are they in trouble?" Danielle kneels to his level. "Sometimes," she says softly, "people have to learn." She stands again. The supervisor gestures toward the jet bridge. As Danielle steps forward, phones follow. The young man walks beside her. "Ma'am," he says quietly, "you didn't just stand up for yourself." She looks at him. "I stood up because my son was watching." They step off the plane. Cameras are waiting at the gate. Not just phones now. News crews. Microphones. Lights. The woman supervisor's calm cracks slightly. "Ms. Carter," she whispers urgently, "please allow us to handle this internally." Danielle looks at the cameras, then at Marcus, then back at the supervisor. Her voice is steady. "No." And from behind them, Claire steps out of the jet bridge, phone in hand, reading something. Her face shifts from anger to shock. Claire stops walking. Her eyes are locked on her phone. Color drains from her face. Danielle notices. So does everyone else. Camera lights flash. Microphones lift. "Ms. Carter," a reporter calls. "Do you have a statement?" The supervisor steps in quickly. No comment at this time. Danielle feels Marcus grip her hand tighter. "Mommy, there are too many people." She kneels slightly. "It's okay. Stay close." Another reporter pushes forward. "Ma'am, did the attendant discriminate against you?" The word hangs heavy. Discriminate. The supervisor tries again. "We are reviewing internally." Danielle stands slowly. Her voice is calm. "She asked me to leave my seat." Flash. She threatened security. Flash. She said, "You people." A ripple moves through the crowd. Claire's head snaps up. "That's not accurate," she calls out. Every camera turns to her. The supervisor hisses, "Claire, stop talking." But it's too late. Claire steps forward. She escalated the situation. Danielle feels her pulse quicken again. "I was sitting," she says evenly. Claire's voice shakes now. "You accuse me of racism in front of the entire cabin." Danielle holds her gaze. "You accuse me of not belonging." Silence. The young man who recorded stands near the edge of the crowd, still filming. The supervisor checks her phone again. Her expression tightens. She leans toward Danielle. "Ma'am, the live stream has reached 4 million views." 4 million? Danielle feels dizzy for a second. Marcus looks up. "Are we famous now?" She swallows. "No, baby. We're just seen." The businessman exits the jet bridge behind them. A reporter stops him. "Sir, you were seated nearby. What happened?" He hesitates. Cameras wait. He clears his throat. "There was confusion," he says carefully. "Confusion about what?" The reporter presses. He glances at Danielle, then at Claire. "She didn't look like, He stops. The silence says the rest. The crowd murmurs. Claire stiffens. "That's not what this was." A notification sound echoes loudly from multiple phones at once. The airline's official statement just dropped. The young man reads it out loud. "We are deeply concerned by the events captured on video. The employee involved has been placed on administrative leave pending investigation." Claire freezes. "Leave," she whispers. The supervisor's jaw tightens. "Claire," she says quietly, "we'll discuss this inside." Claire steps back. "You're suspending me because of video?" Pending investigation. The supervisor repeats. Claire turns toward Danielle. This is because you wanted attention. Danielle's chest aches. My son thought I was being removed from a plane. Claire's voice cracks. You don't understand what this does to my career. Danielle studies her. You didn't think about mine. Silence falls again. Reporters scribble notes. Marcus looks confused. Mom, is she in trouble? Danielle kneels again. Actions have consequences. Claire's breathing becomes uneven. I was following procedure. The male supervisor steps forward. The footage suggests otherwise. Claire shakes her head. You're choosing optics over truth. Danielle stands slowly. Truth doesn't need optics. The crowd hums louder. Phones keep buzzing. Trending hashtags scroll across screens. Hashtag first class bias. Hashtag C3A. Hashtag let her fly. The supervisor gestures toward a private lounge area. Ms. Carter, corporate leadership, is requesting a direct call. Danielle exhales slowly. Now! Yes. Marcus tugs her sleeve. Can we go home? She brushes his cheek. Soon. As they begin walking toward the lounge, a different notification hits. The young man looks down. His eyes widen. Ma'am. Danielle pauses. What now? He turns the screen toward her. Another woman has posted. A former passenger. Her caption reads, Same attendant. Same treatment. Different flight. Attached is an older video clip. Claire arguing with another black passenger. The timestamp is from 8 months ago. The crowd gasps. Claire sees it too. Her hands start to shake. That was taken out of context. She says weakly. The supervisor looks at her sharply. You told us that case was resolved. It was... Claire insists. Danielle feels the air shift again. This isn't one moment anymore. It's a pattern. The supervisor's phone rings. She answers quickly. Yes, I see it. Understood. She hangs up, looks directly at Claire. Corporate wants you off airport property immediately. Claire stares at her. You're firing me over optics. The supervisor's voice is firm now. This is no longer about optics. Claire turns to Danielle one last time. Her eyes are no longer angry. They're desperate. You've ruined my life. Danielle feels something heavy settle in her chest. No, she says quietly. You did. Security approaches. Not for Danielle. For Claire. Marcus watches. Wide-eyed. As Claire is escorted away, reporters shout questions. The crowd splits. Danielle stands still. The young man lowers his phone slowly. It's not over, he says. Danielle knows he's right, because her own phone begins to buzz. Non-stop. Messages. Unknown numbers. And one voicemail notification from a private caller ID. Danielle stares at the voicemail notification. Private caller. Unknown number. Her hands feel cold. The supervisor gestures again. Ms. Carter, the lounge is this way. They step into a quiet room. Soft chairs. Muted lights. Glass walls. But the noise outside still bleeds through. Marcus climbs into a chair beside her. Can we go home now? Soon, she whispers. Her phone buzzes again. She plays the voicemail. A calm male voice fills the room. Ms. Carter, this is Daniel Reeves, Chief Legal Officer for the airline. We would like to resolve this quickly and respectfully. Please return our call before making any public statements. Resolve. Quickly. Respectfully. Danielle exhales slowly. The supervisor watches her carefully. Corporate wants to apologize directly. On record, Danielle asks. The supervisor hesitates. We prefer a private discussion first. Of course. Private. Marcus swings his legs nervously. Mommy, are we in court? She forces a small smile. Not yet. Her phone buzzes again. The young man has sent her the link to the older video. She presses play. Same cabin layout. Same controlled tone. Same words. We have standards in this section. The other passenger in the clip looks confused. Hurt. Danielle feels her throat tighten. Pattern under review. The phrase echoes. The supervisor clears her throat. Ms. Carter, may we? She gestures to the phone. Danielle locks the screen. No. Silence. The male supervisor steps forward. Corporate is offering immediate compensation. Danielle looks up slowly. Compensation? A travel credit. VIP status. Public apology. Marcus looks confused. What's compensation? Danielle brushes his hair back. It's when someone tries to fix a mistake. The supervisor nods quickly. Exactly. Danielle's eyes sharpen. A mistake is spilling coffee. Silence again. The supervisor shifts tone. There are legal risks if this escalates. There were risks when she threatened security. Danielle replies. The male supervisor's jaw tightens. You're aware the employee has been placed on leave. And he exhales. If there's litigation, it becomes adversarial. Adversarial. Big word. Heavy meaning. Marcus leans against her. Mommy, are we fighting? Danielle looks down at him. Yes, she says softly, but not with fists. Her phone buzzes again. This time a text from an unknown number. This is Attorney Malik Thompson. I represent the passenger from the prior video. We need to speak. Danielle's pulse spikes. She looks up. There are other complaints? The supervisors exchange a glance. That's internal, the woman says. Danielle stands slowly. So is bias. Silence fills the room. The male supervisor tries again. We're initiating an internal review panel. Internal? Danielle repeats. She steps closer to them. My son thought I was about to be arrested. Neither responds. My child asked me what race means. The woman's supervisor's eyes soften slightly. We understand this is emotional. Danielle shakes her head. No, you understand this is viral. The words land heavy. Outside the glass walls, reporters still wait. Phones still lifted. Trending numbers climbing. The male supervisor's phone rings again. He answers quickly. Yes, I see. Understood. He hangs up slowly. What now? Danielle asks. He looks at her carefully. The Department of Transportation has requested a formal report. The room goes still. Federal? She asks. Yes. Marcus looks between them. Is that bad? Danielle kneels again. It means someone important is listening. The supervisor inhales slowly. Ms. Carter, this is no longer just about one employee. Danielle nods. It never was. Her phone buzzes again. Another alert. She opens social media. Her name is trending nationally now. Interviews requests flooding in. Then, a direct message from a verified account, a major civil rights organization. We would like to support you. Danielle feels the weight settle differently now. This isn't a moment. It's a case. She looks at the supervisors. I'm not signing anything today. The woman's supervisor swallows. We hope to resolve this quietly. Danielle's voice is steady. That's the problem. Outside the lounge, security escorts Claire through the terminal. Reporters swarm her. Claire shouts over them. I was following policy. This is reverse discrimination. The word echoes through the glass. Reverse. Discrimination. Marcus looks confused again. Danielle stands. Shoulders straight. The male supervisor watches her carefully. What are you planning to do? Danielle meets his eyes. I'm planning to tell the truth. Her phone buzzes one more time. A news network is requesting her live tonight. Prime time. And as she looks through the glass at the cameras waiting, she realizes this isn't just about seat 3A anymore. The studio lights are bright. Too bright. Danielle sits in a quiet room backstage. Marcus is beside her, coloring on a notepad. Mommy, are we on TV? Not yet, she says softly. Her phone rests on her lap. Dozens of missed calls. Hundreds of messages. Outside the door, producers whisper. 30 seconds. Someone says. Danielle feels her chest rise and fall slowly. She doesn't want to cry. She doesn't want to sound angry. She wants to sound clear. The host greets her as she walks on stage. Danielle Carter, thank you for joining us. She nods once. Thank you for having me. The screen behind them shows a clip. Claire leaning over her seat. You need to leave. Now. The audience murmurs. The host turns gently. What was going through your mind? Danielle thinks of Marcus, of his small hand gripping her coat. I was thinking, she says carefully, how do I protect my son without losing my dignity? Silence. The host leans forward. Do you believe this was racism? Danielle exhales. I believe I was treated as suspicious before I spoke. The clip cuts to Claire saying, first class is standards. The host pauses the video. What does that mean to you? Danielle's jaw tightens slightly. It means I didn't fit what she expected. The screen changes again. Another video appears. The older clip, different passenger. Same language, same tone. Gasps ripple through the audience. The host turns serious. This suggests a pattern. Danielle nods slowly. It suggests silence allowed it. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. She ignores it. The host continues. The airline says it is committed to inclusion. Danielle's eyes steady. Commitment is tested under pressure. Backstage, producer signal. Trending numbers appear on a side monitor. 10 million views. Hashtags climbing globally. The host glances at his earpiece. Breaking update, he says. Danielle's heart skips. He looks at her carefully. The airline has just announced an independent external investigation. A murmur spreads. Danielle absorbs it. External, not internal. The host continues. And the employee involved has been terminated effective immediately. The words hang heavy. Marcus looks up from his drawing. What's terminated? Danielle swallows. It means she lost her job. The audience quiets. The host asks softly, how do you feel about that? Danielle pauses. She doesn't smile. She doesn't celebrate. I feel tired. The simplicity of it lands harder than anger. I didn't want someone fired, she continues. I wanted someone to think before they act. Applause builds slowly, then stronger. But Danielle doesn't feel triumphant. She feels exposed. After the interview, her phone explodes with new alerts. One message stands out. From attorney Malik Thompson. 3 more former passengers have come forward. She exhales sharply. The pattern is bigger than she knew. In the hallway, reporters wait again. Danielle, are you filing a lawsuit? Danielle, will you meet with airline leadership? Danielle, do you forgive her? The last question lingers. Do you forgive her? Danielle stops walking. She looks at the cameras. I'm still processing. She feels Marcus's hand in hers. Small, warm, grounding. A notification pops up again. This time from the Department of Transportation. Formal inquiry opened. Her stomach tightens. This isn't just corporate anymore. It's federal. The supervisor from the airport calls her directly, voice strained. This has escalated beyond us. Danielle nods even though the woman can't see her. It escalated when she called security. Silence on the other end. Then there will be hearings. Hearings. Public. On record. Danielle looks at Marcus. He's smiling now, watching people take pictures of her. Proud. And suddenly she understands. This isn't just exposure. It's responsibility. Her phone buzzes one last time. A private message. From Claire. 3 words. You destroyed me. Danielle stares at the screen, then slowly types back. No, the truth did. She doesn't send it. Instead, she locks the phone. Because tomorrow, she won't just be telling her story. She'll be testifying under oath. The red banner keeps flashing. Pattern under review. Claire steps back. That's internal, she says again, but her voice has lost its edge. The captain lowers the tablet. Ms. Carter, he says carefully, your upgrade wasn't random. Danielle keeps her chin lifted. I didn't think it was. The cabin is silent. The young man's phone is still recording. Claire looks at him. Turn that off. No, he says simply. The captain continues. You were upgraded under executive authorization. Danielle nods once. I received an email. Claire crosses her arms. Upgrades are still subject to verification. The captain looks at her. Claire. One word. Warning. Danielle feels her pulse in her ears. Marcus whispers, Mommy, what's happening? She brushes his hair back. They're figuring it out. But she's tired. Tired of proving. tired of standing still while someone questions her right to sit. The businessman across the aisle clears his throat. So she gets special treatment now? Danielle turns slowly. I paid for a seat, she says. The airline upgraded it. He shrugs. Must be nice. His tone stings more than Claire's. The captain speaks calmly. Ms. Carter is tomorrow's keynote speaker at our national summit. The businessman blinks. Keynote? Yes. Claire stiffens again. That's irrelevant to cabin order. Danielle's eyes flash. Cabin order? She repeats. Claire gestures vaguely. First class is standards. There it is again. Standards. The young man mutters. You keep saying that. Claire snaps. Sir, you're interfering. He doesn't flinch. I'm witnessing. The captain turns to Danielle. Ms. Carter, your foundation partner with our veterans program last year. She nods slowly. Yes. And you funded 3 military family relocation grants. The businessman shifts in his seat. Claire stares at the floor. Danielle feels something twist inside her. Not pride, not relief, just exhaustion. I didn't do that for applause, she says quietly. No, the captain agrees. You didn't. Claire straightens. That still doesn't explain the flag. Danielle looks at her. You mean the note about profiling? Claire's cheeks flush. That was misinterpreted. The captain's voice lowers. It says prior passenger reported feeling targeted based on appearance. Claire's jaw tightens. They misunderstood my tone. Danielle feels anger rising again. Tone, she says softly. Marcus looks between them. Mommy, are we staying? Danielle pulls him close. Yes. Claire shakes her head. This is getting out of control. The captain studies her. No, he says evenly. It was out of control when you threatened security. The businessman raises his hands. Can we just take off? Danielle turns to him. You were quiet when she told my son I had to leave. He looks away. Silence is heavy. The captain addresses the cabin. There is no seating issue. Ms. Carter is confirmed in 3A. A ripple moves through first class. Some nod. Some look embarrassed. Claire forces a smile. Well, that settles it. Danielle doesn't smile back. No, she says softly. It doesn't. Claire freezes. The captain watches carefully. Danielle's voice stays calm. You asked me to leave. In front of my child. You called security. Claire folds her arms. Procedure? Procedure? Danielle repeats. Or assumption? Claire's lips press tight. I treat every passenger same. The young man lets out a short laugh. Is that why you say you people? Gasps again. Claire snaps. That was taken out of context. Danielle feels the weight of every eye again. But this time it's different. Now they're watching Claire. Not her. The captain looks at Claire slowly. Did you say that? Claire hesitates. I was misunderstood. Danielle exhales slowly. She doesn't want drama. She doesn't want revenge. She wants her son to feel safe. Marcus leans into her. Mommy, why were they mad? She swallows. They weren't mad, baby. They sounded mad. The truth sits heavy in her chest. The captain clears his throat. Claire, return to your position. Claire stiffens. Sir, that's an order. She steps back, but as she turns, she mutters, some people always make it about race. It's quiet, but not quiet enough. Danielle hears it. The young man hears it. The businessman hears it. Danielle's body goes still. Slowly, she lifts her head. What did you say? Claire stops walking. I said nothing. The captain turns sharply. Claire. Passengers lean forward again. The tension isn't gone. It's sharper now. Claire's voice is brittle. I said some passengers escalate things unnecessarily. Danielle studies her face. No, she says calmly. You said race. Claire doesn't respond. The captain's eyes narrow. Claire, step into the galley. Now. Claire hesitates, then walks away. The cabin releases a small breath, but Danielle doesn't feel relief. The businessman leans back. Guess it worked out for you. Danielle looks at him. Worked out. He shrugs. You're still sitting there. She holds his gaze. That's not the win. The young man lowers his phone slightly. Ma'am, he says quietly, the video's already uploaded. Danielle blinks. Uploaded. He nods. Live stream. 10,000 viewers already. Her stomach drops. Marcus looks up. Are we famous? Danielle forces a thin smile. No, baby. But outside this plane, something is moving. Fast. And inside the galley, Claire is arguing in hushed, urgent whispers. The captain's voice is firm. Danielle can't hear the words, but she can see Claire's face. Angry, cornered, and then Claire looks directly at Danielle. Not embarrassed, not sorry, just resentful, and she reaches for her phone.